October 14th will be Judgment Day as KSI will be taking on his biggest opponent yet, or his toughest opponent yet, in Tommy Fury. And of course, in the co-main event, Logan Paul will face his arch nemesis Dillion Danis, who has been less than nice to him on Twitter, but whatever. But of course, this undercard is humongous, and we're only going to be talking about the main card. I will talk a little bit about the other one, which is Swarms versus Ryan Taylor, and Chase Demore is fighting in the undercard or prelims. I got Swarms and Demore winning. I think Swarms has improved a lot. I mean, Ryan Taylor can make it tough if he wants to, but I trust Swarms has learned from his mistakes and will come out victorious. But until then, the main card consists of 7 fights with, I kid you not, a tag team match is the opener. So the other fights are pretty big. But of course, the first fight is a tag team between Alex Wasabi and Nick LMAO versus Los Pinedas Coladas, which is a very nice name. I like the name. Which consists of B-Dave and Pineda. Who do I think is going to win? It's Alex and Nick LMAO. It's not that hard to think of it. I mean, literally, Nick LMAO was whooping B-Dave in the Survivor tag fight. I mean, it was kind of like chaotic in there. Literally, the same two people were fighting each other. Like, it was literally like, I think it was Nick LMAO versus B-Dave and Swarms versus the other guy. I'm sorry, the other guy. I don't know who you were. But yeah, the only way I can see Los Pinedas Coladas winning is if B-Dave doesn't fight at all. If Pineda fights instead and tries to 2v1 them, then that's the only way I see it winning. But I don't think Pineda is that well off to do that. To pull it off anyways, because Wasabi and Nick LMAO can 100% handle B-Dave. And if they take turns, they can 100% handle Pineda too. Unfortunately, Pineda will probably lose because of B-Dave. But whatever, right? And then you got Whindersson Nunez versus my mate Nate, which is so crazy because Whindersson Nunez is literally like either the third or top 3, obviously, in terms of popularity on the card. Right? And before we get into the fight, people are like, oh, how many pay-per-views are going to buy? Or people are going to buy, right? How many buys is this going to do? And if there's pay-per-view in Brazil, it could easily be like 1.5 million. But if not, I could say it's like 1.1 million or something. Nunez is a humongous name, and if they don't profit off of that, that's crazy. I mean, they did announce his fight like after the arena was sold out, which then again doesn't change the fact that they're gonna get the money anyways. But anyways, he's fighting my mate Nate, which, like I said in the Kingpin video, my mate Nate is one of the most experienced fighters on the card. Although it wasn't unknown promotions, Nunez is only 2-1. Obviously, he's 1 loss coming by way of King Kenny, and the other 2 fights was against someone who would never fought in his life, who was like a last-minute replacement. And I don't even know who the other guy was. But to be honest, I don't know. My mate Nate got destroyed by King Kenny as well, actually. Both lost to King Kenny. And if my mate Nate goes into the fight, not really being affected by the King Kenny loss, I can see my mate Nate winning. Because Nunez, he's decent. Right? He has, obviously, the one thing is come forward pressure. But if you have a strong jab and movement, he can't touch you. Like at all. I think my mate Nate has a little bit of that, and he can, make it work. So I'm gonna have to choose Nate for this fight, which is weird because most people are picking Nunez, which I wouldn't blame you. Of course, the next fight is King Kenny versus Anthony Taylor, which is a very interesting match because Anthony Taylor is undefeated against influencers. Out of his losses, he lost to Idris Virgo, Chris Avila, and Tommy Fury that I think I know of. All of them are professional fighters, or at least are considered professional fighters, if not MMA fighters, right? And he's fighting King Kenny, who obviously came off of a masterful performance against Whindersson Nunez. Difference is Nunez is not that good of a fighter, like at all. I said he's decent. He's a one-trick pony. He's literally like a worse version of B-Dave, so that says a lot. I got Anthony Taylor. I think he has enough resources in his toolbox to get inside and make it rough, like he did with Saul Poppy. In the influencer versus MMA world, MMA fighters have only lost to one guy, and that was Jake Paul. Everyone else has been beaten by an MMA fighter. Dr. Mike, even Le'Veon Bell, the NFL athlete, couldn't beat Uriah Hall. But then again, Uriah Hall is a good fighter himself, right? But it was a close match, by the way. Le'Veon Bell, if he would have been a little bit more aggressive, could have won that one. But he didn't, so obviously not. But if an NFL star who is trained to use his muscles properly, cannot beat an MMA fighter. But then again, Uriah Hall is UFC, Anthony Taylor is Bellator, so it says a lot. I got Anthony Taylor winning decision. I like King Kenny. I like the way he fight. I just don't think he does it against Anthony Taylor. And if he does, that's surprising, but it's most likely not going to happen. And of course, you got the next fight being the much anticipated rematch between Dean the Great and Walid Sharks. And of course, Dean the Great won the last one via a little controversial win over Walid Shark. Why is that? It's because Shark may have turned his back against the referee, which people say, oh, that's a no-no. Difference is Shark has knocked down Dean like 2 or 3 times in the fight. And he was winning the fight. He would have won even if he was knocked down. He would have won decision, but the referee just stopped it for no reason. He should have gave him the benefit of the doubt because he didn't seem that hurt. He just seemed a little confused, right? In terms of like, I don't know, not knowing what 2 + 2 is, right? Not like actual confusion where your head got, hit. I think Walid Shark wins in their tag team fight against Yudi Gang and I don't even know, with A-Pop or something like that. Shark was doing the better out of both of them. Then again, Yudi Gang was good in that fight. I don't even know what the hell he's been doing. He's good as hell. But Dean the Great was the one struggling out of most of them. So, I mean, then again, that's not a real indication of who's going to win. But I think Shark does it this time. I think he beats Dean the Great. And if it isn't, this is most likely either going Shark knockout or Dean the Great decision. I don't think Great Dean is going to knock out Shark again. But I'm rooting for Shark. I think Shark's going to win this time. I think he proves to the world that the first fight was a fluke. And, of course, you got another much-anticipated fight for the Misfits Middleweight World Championship. So, whatever. Fake title fight, but whatever. Against Salt Poppy versus Slim. Salt Poppy will be coming down, I think, from 175 all the way down to 160 to fight Slim, who also wanted to go down from 175 to 160. So, both will be coming down in weight. Who do I think's going to win? I think Slim wins. Slim has the way of fighting that keeps distance between them, and as we've seen against Salt Poppy and Anthony Taylor, Salt Poppy needed to be aggressive and even make it rough with Anthony Taylor, but he didn't. He knew there was only 3 rounds, yet he still didn't become aggressive. Which I think the same thing's gonna happen here. I think Slim's gonna start picking Salt Poppy apart, and I don't think Salt Poppy wins. I think he hasn't stopped, actually. I don't know how many rounds are in this fight. I don't know if it's 6 rounds or 3 rounds, 4 rounds, but I don't know. If it's like 4 rounds or less, or 5 rounds for that matter, I think it's a Slim unanimous decision, but it's more than that, I think Salt Poppy loses. Because Salt Poppy has fought, or Slim has fought a better fight, especially against Face Temper, but he's also been in wars with Ryan Taylor and Tom Zanetti. So he can fight both ways, although he much rather not be in a war again. He can fight both ways if he needs to. Salt Poppy cannot, actually. So I got Slim winning. And, of course, you got the co-main event, Logan Paul versus Dillion Danis. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu man versus the influencer crypto scammer. Okay, well, Dillion Danis also scammed his fans out of CryptoZoo or some of that. It's crypto, whatever, right? They're both scammers, basically. Who do I think's going to win? This is actually, I think this is an 8-round fight. Yeah, this is an 8-round fight, which is weird because we'll talk about that later. But I think it's weird because Logan Paul should win this one. He has enough motivation to do it. But Dillion Danis, obviously as an MMA fighter, Bellator fighter, he has the, I would assume, edge, right? Because most MMA fighters beat all the influencers besides Jake Paul. I think it's going to be a competitive match. I don't think anyone gets stopped. But people are seeing some Dillion Danis sparring footage where he has his, like, hands down, basically, when he's throwing punches, like, not low blows, but, like, body shots, but both of them. It's like, oh, he could easily be countered. Difference is, Logan Paul cannot counter that. Most influencer boxers cannot counter the way the MMA fighters fight. Because most of them just shell up and take block the punches instead of trying to counter, parry, whatever, right? So Dillion Danis will get a lot of free points because of that. But Logan Paul is a little bit more technical, but he throws less punches. So if Dillion Danis is aggressive and pressures Logan Paul, I can see Danis winning. But if Logan Paul keeps his distance, uses his jab, maybe some movement, Logan Paul can win. But the difference is which one will install their will first. Of course, that'll be within the first 3 rounds, right? First 3 rounds, we will see whoever controls the pace of the fight will be the winner, which could either be Danis or Logan Paul, because it's going to be hard to get out of that momentum, or it's gonna be very hard to change your opponent's momentum, especially an influencer, right? It's very hard. So it's basically whoever can, control the pace after round 3 is gonna win. But who do I think is gonna do that? Uh, I think we have to go with the favorite, Logan Paul. I think Logan Paul is gonna be the one that controls the pace after round 3. But Dillion Danis is a live dog. He could easily make it rough in there and steal a bunch of rounds, right? Because Logan Paul does not like to throw a lot of punches. He hasn't fought in, like 2 years, and we don't count the Floyd Mayweather fight. That one doesn't count, right? So yeah, Logan Paul is most likely going to win unanimous decision. Of course, we got the main event between KSI versus Tommy Fury, which will not be for the Misfits Cruiserweight World Championship for some reason, but whatever. And of course, the main event as a professional fight will be a 6-rounder. Why a 6-rounder? Because KSI has no gas tank. That's why. Logan Paul versus Dillion Danis is an 8-rounder, and KSI is a 6-rounder. That I know of. I don't know if they changed it, because now, before it wasn't a professional fight, now it is. And that's weird. Who's going to win? It's Tommy Fury. It's Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury's going to absolutely bully KSI. 6 rounds is not a lot to knock out KSI, because I would assume KSI has a chin. But Swarms and Pineda were landing punches on him. And the thing is, KSI has no good win that could even rival Jake Paul's good win, right? Why am I using Jake Paul's? Because that was the last person Tommy Fury beat, and KSI thinks he's better than Jake Paul. And is he better? I mean, he just swings more wildly. I mean, Jake Paul could fight the same way as KSI, and he would be considered as good, right? Whatever, right? Jake Paul's best win is probably Anderson Silva or Tyron Woodley. Well, KSI has to pick his poison. He has to pick which one is his best win. It's either Logan Paul, who hasn't fought in 2 years, who was his first win in, I would assume his first win in boxing history, I think, or is it second? I don't know if he fought Joe Wheeler first or whatever, or Joe Weller first. The thing is, it'll be his second win from 2 years ago against a guy who has a wrestling background, not even professional, who he tied with in the beginning and should have lost to if it wasn't for the dumb point deduction that happened in the rematch. Or it's FaZe Temper who is Slim's leftovers, who got knocked out pretty badly, which I don't want to say anything, but it could be that FaZe Temper has a glass jaw. But considering Slim knocked him out, even though he had a 100% knockout ratio at the time, it wasn't really against good people. One of his wins were NNA Productions, so Slim did not have a lot to brag about having 100% knockout ratio. Or it is the 40-year-old businessman who has fought nothing but bums, even though he was 9-0 with 9 knockouts. It was against absolute bums that even Swarms could probably knock out. Okay, that's a little bit much, but a little bit too much. But it's someone like Slim or Saul probably can knock out. He has to pick his poison. He either has to pick one. Oh, he didn't even beat Joe Fournier. He knocked him out with his elbow. So there's literally no good win in his name. It's either FaZe Temper or Logan Paul. And none of them are good wins. Of course, Tommy Fury's best win, unfortunately, is Jake Paul. So, that says a lot. But Fury is gonna whoop him. He already defended Jake Paul's overhand, right, a lot of times. The thing is, the only way KSI can win is in the first round. Because, he bum rushed Joe Fournier. It didn't work. Then the second round or third round, I don't know which one he got knocked out in. Fournier was catching KSI jab after jab after jab. And, of course, Tommy Fury will add on to the jab. KSI's in for a long night. He's either going to lose pretty embarrassingly via unanimous decision, or he will get knocked out in, round 4. Because KSI, I don't even know how many rounds he has ever done. I mean, sparring is good, don't get me wrong, but if you haven't been there in an actual fight against someone who's actually there and knock you out, it doesn't say a lot. But of course, those are my predictions. I got Wasabi LMAO winning the tag team fight. I got my mate Nate winning his fight. Anthony Taylor winning his fight. Wilded Shark winning his fight. Slim winning his fight. Logan Paul winning against Dillion Danis. And Tommy Fury winning his fight. Hold on. Now that I'm actually looking at it, I'm picking all the right side. That's crazy. The only person I did not pick for the right side was Logan Paul. And even then, I was leaning more towards Dillion Danis. Okay, I also picked Wasabi LMAO, so that doesn't count. But, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting night. Prime card. I don't know how much the pay-per-view is, but if it's $60, I'm just going to be watching the highlights. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. The next video will, of course, be the Tim Tszyu versus Brian Mendoza fight. Like I said before, hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.